This is the sector Chullin, Daf Nun, Daf 50, Amud Aleph. We are starting at the 11th line, Tanya Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. Um, so we are continuing a discussion uh, of punctures, perforations, and now we move on to another internal organ. Tanya Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Omer. Uh, B'nai B'ayin Shnikvu Lecha Sotamtam Kashira. Uh, this is a Braita that says that if the intestines were perforated, but they're sealed because of uh, mucus or not, let's see what Art Scroll translates this as a fluid. uh, then the animal is kosher. Now, the Mishnah said that a perforation would make the animal a treifa. Uh, My lecha, which is translated by Korin as mucus and by Art Scroll as liquid. Amar Rav Kahana, shirka demea ya uh, dina fake agav ducha. Uh, Rav Kahana says that this is a fluid or mucus that comes out under pressure when one scrapes it with a knife. So now we have a chain here of rabbis. Gamira Havraya the Rabbi Abba Marabi Abba. The colleagues of Rabbi Abba learned a tradition from Rabbi Abba. Uh, Umainu, who were they? Rabbi Zera. Uh, but there's another opinion on this chain. Amri la Chavraya de Rabbi Zera Mirabi Zera. And some say the colleagues of Rabbi Zera learned it from Rabbi Zera. Umanu Rabbi Abba. And who are they? Rabbi Abba. Uh, Amar Rabbi Abba Rabbi Hia bar Abba. Uh, so this is so Rabbi Abba, the son of Rabbi Hia bar Abba. Haki Amar Rabbi Hia bar Abba Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Uh, this is what Rabbi Hia bar Abba says that Rabbi Yochanan says. Halakha ka Rabbi Shimon gem Gamliel bifrefa v'halakha ka Rabbi Shimon Avel. So that the Rabbi Yochanan, according to this, says that we follow Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel with regard to Trefot. However, we follow Rabbi Shimon with the halakha of Avelut, of mourning. So now we're going to have a bit of a digression here. Halakha Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel b'trefa ha amaran. So the halakha is in accordance with Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel with regard to treifa, which is that the mucus or liquid or fluids that can seal a perforation is effective, and the animal is not a treifa. Rabbi Shimon ba'avel maihi. So what's this about Rabbi Shimon and Avelo? Dignan ko shlosha yamim harishonim bab makom karehuf mone imahem. So there's a Braita during the first 3 days of mourning. If a mourner comes from a nearby place, he counts his days of mourning with everybody else. So he doesn't have to start 7 days himself if he comes to mourn with the other mourners within the first 3 days. Continuing, the makom rachok moneh la'atzmo. If he comes from a distant place, he counts 7 days on his own from the time he learned about the death. And this was a big deal back in the time of Talmud because it took a long time to learn about things. Now we have almost instant communication. Mikang ve'elach afilu ba b'makom karov moneh v'atzmo. Uh, from this point forward, after the first, this is after the first 3 days, even if he comes from a nearby place, he counts on his own. So he would still do 7 days. Rabbi Shimon Omer, afilu bayom hashvi'i baba makom karov moneh imahem. Rabbi Shimon disagrees. He says that even if he comes on the seventh day from a nearby place, he counts and completes with the other mourners. So Rabbi Shimon says that the time of Avelut is the same for uh, all individuals. Now here we have an interesting thing. Often the Gemara will mention that they don't know who is responsible for a particular opinion, but they eventually figure it out. We have an interesting situation here. Amar man dehu. Someone said, the name is not given, is he sak ve'egmara. Lim lishma'ata mipumei demara. Uh, May I merit to go up, meaning make aliyah to Israel, to the land of Israel, and learn this halakha from its master, whoever was the uh, rabbi in Israel who said this. Ki salek ashkachei, the Rabbi Abba Barei Barabi Hia Bar Abba. He found Rabbi Abba, the son of Rabbi Hia Bar Abba, and said, uh, Amar Lei, Amar Mar Halakha Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Bitrefa. The halakha is in accordance to Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel with regard to a trefa. Um, so here we have a difference of opinion here. Amar Lei, Ha ein halakha Amari. Rabbi Abba said this is not true. He said the opposite. The halakha is not in accordance with Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. And he follows the Mishnah that an animal is a treifa and having the mucus or fluid seal the perforation does not help. Be'en ha'cha Rabbi Shimon Gamliel bitreifa, and the Gemara concludes by saying that halakha is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel with regard to treifa. Halakha Rabbi Shimon Avel Amar Shmuel Halakha Kadivrei Mekel Ba'avel. Not only is the halakha in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon with regard to mourning, this is in accordance with the statement of Shmuel, who was an Amora, who says that the halakha is in accordance with the statement of the more lenient authority in matters related to mourning. Looking at the halakha note from Rabbi Steinsaltz, um, and he says that in general, the halakha for Avelu does indeed follow Rabbi Shimon, but there's one note, and this is in the Rambam Shulchan Aruch. This only applies if the mourner arrives before the 7 days are up and the mourners have completed their Avelut. If he arrives afterwards, he still is obligated to count to start his period of 7 days and also the 30 days of Shloshim. Okay, back to perforations in the intestines. Amar Rav Shimi Bar Chia Makifim Bifnei Me'ayin. One may compare the intestines, meaning the perforations. So this is, let me just look at commentary because this is kind of obscure. Um, this is actually explained by Rashi that this involves trying to figure out whether the perforation looks like it came before or after the shechita, so you can actually make a perforation in the intestines to see whether it looks like the perforation. and the we now have some more opinions on this that also help to clarify what we do with this. Hanhu b'nei ayin da atu l'kamei de Rava. People came to Rava, who we heard have been hearing seems to have been the leading post in Babel. Akfin hu v'la idmu. Uh, Rava compared them, but they were not similar. And looking at uh, uh, this, it is apparently he actually did indeed make the extra perforations. So now we have an interesting difference between father and son. Amar Rav Maharshya Beret, Rabbi Maharshya, who was the son of Rava, um, Mamash Mesh Bahu V'idmu. He rubbed the perforations and he found they were similar. Amar Le Mana Laha. Rava asked him, how do you know this? Kama Yidei Mamash Mashub Hane Mikame Delete the Kame Damar. So it was logic. How many hands rubbed this before they came before the master? So there was the shkita, there was the initial checking, there were the people who carried the intestines. Uh, Amarle, so Rava replies, Hakim Bari Bit Refa Rabbi Yochanan. My Rava says, my son is as wise regarding Trefot as Rabbi Yochanan, who is renowned to be an expert on Trefot. And in fact, Rabbi Yochanan, who was multiple generations earlier, I believe that Rava was a fourth generation Amora, and Rabbi Yochanan was certainly first generation. So this may have been even a more general statement, uh, but that is remarkable praise from father to son. Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Elazar Amri Tarvaihu. Uh, in fact, Rabbi Yochanan and also Rabbi Elazar, the Amora, said that one may compare perforations in the lung. Makifin Berea, Amar Rava. Uh, looking at the perforation, comparing the lung perforations, Amar Rava, Rava said, there's a limit to this. La Amarang Ela Ba'ota Aruga. This is only when they're in the same side. So you can't compare perforation on a left lobe to a right lobe, which is the next statement in the Gemara. Aval me'aruga aruga la. Um, and the Gemara comes with a halakhic statement. Hiokata afilu me'aruga la'aruga. You may compare from one side to one side, from side to side. So this is differing with Rava. Mi daka, the daka, umi gasa, the gasa, avalo, mi gasa, the daka, velo, mi daka, the gasa. So this is a little confusing. Uh, from one side to the other side, from small to small, from large to large, but not from large to small or from small to small. And this is generates some confusion among the commentaries. And the question is, well, I could just say, Rashi um, has two opinions. One is uh, comparing within the same animal. And the other explanation that he gives is that is actually when they say small to large and large to small, this is from a small animal and a large animal. So you would not be able, for instance, to compare a perforation of goat to a perforation of uh, uh, a beef cow. Um, Rashi does not believes that this is not a good explanation. Um, but there are Rishonim who disagree with him. And furthermore, uh, talking about other parts uh, of the animal. Abai and Rabba both say Da'amri Tarvai Hu. The different severed or perforated areas in the windpipe. Uh, Makifin Bakane. Amar Rav Papa limits this. La Amaran Ela Ba'uta Huya. Only in the same windpipe. Aval Huya Huya La. But not from one segment to another segment. So this is this is a little bit clear what the meaning of a segment would be. But there are uh, there's a nice photograph in Corin, and there is a nice, and there's also a drawing in Art Scroll of a trachea. Um, the segments are fairly small parts that are next to each other. Uh, and the Gemara has a ruling, the Hilchata, afilu mechuya lachuya. One from one segment to another segment is fine. Umibar huya levar huya. From one subsegment to another subsegment is the way Koran translates that. Um, Art Scroll translates it, says band to banding, subband to ubband. But there's limitation. Um, Vela mi bar huya luhuya, but not from a subsegment, meaning son, which is literally son of a segment to a segment. And um, there is a picture in the Koran that I recommend that explains this better than I could. Basically, the segment is uh, there are like ridges in the trachea, and the ridge that go completely around the trachea is considered the son of the segment, the bars huya, and the segment is the smoother area that is between the ridges. And this is um, uh, and they also have some references there. Um, so now we go to another part of the animal, and and now we get into some things that at least I found confusing. Uh, so Zairi says, I'm not sure why it didn't say Rabbi Ziri. Oh, it's probably Babylon. I think he's a Babylonian. Sorry. Amar Zairi, uh, Chachulet Shenikva Kashera. Um, if there is a perforation in the rectum, the animal is kosher. Uh, Hulil Virechaim Ma'amidot Ota. The hips of the animal hold it up. Ukama, how much? Amar Rabbi Eli, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Eli says that Rabbi Yochanan says, Makom hadavar barubo shelo v'makom hadabek b'mashehu. Um, if it's in a place where it's attached, meaning the hips, even if the majority of it is perforated, uh, that applies. But if it's not where it is attached to the hips, uh, the it's a any amount will make the animal kosher. Um, so to the land of Israel, so away from the land of Israel to the land of Bavel. Hmm. Amaruha Rabbanan Kamed Rava. So the rabbis came before Rava. Uh, Mishmei de Rav Nachman, in the name of Rav Nachman. Amar la, Amar la mi amina v'kula hitlu be. And Rava said, have I told you not to hang on top of I Amugbet? Bouquet Sarike. Do not hang on uh, empty pitchers or empty bottles. Uh, Basically saying that Rav Nachman didn't say this. And so we get uh, a different version of Rav Nachman. Haki Amar Rav Nachman, uh, Makom Hadabek Afilu Nitau Kulo Kasher. Uh, for the place where it's attached, being to the hips, even if all of it was removed, kosher, the animal's kosher. Fuhu shenish tayer bo kadei tafisa. And this is true when there's enough space for to uh, grip it, hold on to it. Vakama, Amar, Abaye, uh, Kimlo Batda Batokva. Uh, so how much it is the width of a finger, so says Abaye. And this is in the case, this is true even in the case of a bull, a large animal. Um, and the halakha note from Rabbi Steinsaltz. Um, if any if any part of the rectum is perforated, the animal is treifa, just as any other part of the digestive system. But this applies only when it's perforated through the abdominal cavity. And there was a discussion yesterday about how do you get a needle through the abdominal cavity, and they talk about how it probably was inhaled, went through the lungs, and then floated through the animal's body. Sounds pretty horrible for the animal. However, it's perforating the place that's attached between the hips. The animal is kosher. Uh, and even if the entire area attached between the hips is removed, the animal is still kosher as long as there are not a single finger breath, as the Bible says, but four finger breaths in a bull, two in a sheep, and one in a lamb, citing the Rokeach. Um, and there are other opinions that say if any part of the remaining area was perforated, it uh, is treifa, and some deem it kosher. So this is, I do not know how we actually work in practice today. So now we have an issue of something that is uh, unclear even to the rabbis, what they're referring to. So this is one of the things that can make Chullin challenging. Um, Haga, Hagares Hatnimi. Uh, so what is this thing? This is translated by Art Scroll as inner pouch, and it's translated by Corin as internal rumen. So now we're going to get some discussion over what this refers to from the Amoraim. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. So this is Rav Yehuda, the Amora, quoting Rav, the first generation Amora. He'id natang bar shila resh tabahaya, but Zipori. So Natan Bashila, who is the chief butcher of Zipori, Lifnei Rabbi Mishum Rabbi Natan, testifying before Rabbi Yehuda Nasi in the name of Rabbi Natan. So that's not Rabbi Natan is not the chief butcher; is a different Natan. Uh, Sanya Divi. It is the oh sorry, Kares Hapnimi. He Kares Hapnimi Sanya Divi. What is this thing? The Kares Hapnimi. It is Sanya Divi, which is translated both by Art Scroll and uh, uh, by Corin as the Sekhom. And the Sekhom is a kind of pouch-like uh, uh, a kind of pouch-like area organ that is attached to the intestines. Uh, the king Amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Karcha, and so said Rabbi Yehoshua ben Karcha, Sanya Divi, that it is the second, and Rabbi Yishmael Amar, Ish Tamcha Dikresa. So now we have Rabbi Yehoshua ben Korcha saying, agreeing with Rabbi Natan as relayed by Rav, as relayed by Rav Hu, but Rabbi Yishmael, um, and I'm not sure that this is, was this the, yes, so this is Rabbi Yishmael the Tana, and Rabbi Yehoshua ben Korcha was a Tana, but there are some texts that say that Rabbi Yehoshua ben Korcha was actually Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi in some manuscripts, and some texts uh, say that the Rabbi Ishmael was actually Rabbi Shimon bar Abba, who was an Amora. So not only do we have some confusion about what this is, but who is the authority. But Rabbi Yehoshua ben Korcha and Rabbi Yishmael disagree. Rabbi Yishmael Amar Is Tamcha Dikresa, the opening, the Ishtumka of the rumen, uh, and Art Scroll translates it as the stomach of the pouch. Uh, so Rashi uses an old French word, estomache, which uh, comes from Latin, and there's a cognate word in modern Spanish. I know Spanish and not French, estomaga, which you would think would mean stomach, but Rashi also says he doesn't know what it is. And Shitu Mukabetz it actually deletes, I don't know what it is. He can't believe that Rashi would not know what something is. The Meiri actually has that. Uh, and he says, we do not have clear knowledge of its meaning. So this is rather remarkable, and I do not uh, envy the uh, folks who are trying to figure out exactly the practical applications of this, which are obvious. Um, and there's a nice discussion in the notes on from Corin, and there are also some uh, briefer discussion in Art Scroll along with some drawings. So we have more opinions though. Amri Arva in the west, meaning in the land of Israel, Mishmei de Rabbi Yosef bar Hanina. They said in the name of Rabbi Yosef bar Hanina, Kol hakaretz kulo zo hi kares hapnimim. The entire rumen is the internal rumen. Ezeku kares hachizon. And what is the external rumen? Uh, Basar b'chofet et rov hakares. It's the flesh that envelops the majority of the rumen on the underside of the animal. Rabba bar Rav Huna Omar mafrita my mafrita. Uh, what it's the mafrata. Uh, Amar Rav Avya Hika de Fari Tabahe. It is a place where the butcher explodes. According to Rav Avia, this is a place where the butcher exposes when he opens up the animals. So they would apparently, when they would butcher the animals and to get the meat and the internal parts, they would open it on the stomach, and this is the first thing uh, that would be uh, seen by the butcher. And the halakha note from Rabbi Steinsaltz um, is Machmir. If any part of the rumen was perforated in any amount, the animal is a treifa in accordance with the stringent opinion of Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina. Uh, and the reason is that we don't come to a definitive conclusion. And when we don't come to a definitive conclusion on a matter of Torah law, we are obligated to hold by the more stringent opinion in pretty much everything except possibly an emergency situation. And there are some who say that this indeed uh, means that the status of the animal is uncertain, but in practice that we presumably would have to rule stringency. Uh, so now we complete this with uh, uh, some other additional opinions. Being har to of di Karabba bar Rav Huna. In Nahardia in Bavel, they practiced in accordance with Rabbi Bar Huna. Uh, Amar Le Rav Ashi uh, uh, said to Rabbi uh, Amemar, that's Amar Le Rav Ashi the Amemar. Um, Kol Hane Shematata Mai. What about all these other statements that there's about the different possibilities? And Amemar said, Amarle, responding to Ravashi, Kulhu Shechan Bid Rabba Bar Rav Huna. They're all included in what Rabba Bar Rav Huna said. Um, so this is a very general and therefore much quite machmir position to hold. Ud Rav Ashi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. So Rav Ashi is questioning this. He quotes Rav Ashi in the Rav Asi, not Rav Ashi, Rav Asi, who's earlier in the name of or more in the name of Rav Yochanan. That what about Rabbi Yochanan saying that this is a rather small area? And Armemar responded, Armarle Kavar Persa Rav Acha Bar Ava. Uh, Rav Acha Bar Ava already explained it's the from the narrow place from it's the larger area. Um, and Rav Ashi isn't taking no for an answer. Udrabi, what about Udrabi Avinu? I'm sorry, Avina, Kedivre Ma'arva, and the people in the West. And Amemar said, Amarle Hane Vadai Pradigi. These opinions disagree, but it doesn't matter that we're not going to follow them. So this is an example where it was determined that we are going to be Machmir here. So continuing, um, related area where we were going to talk more about what we've just heard. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, a big dola. Um, for a large animal, if you have a tear in, let's see, Rashi says that this is, um, um, this is about um, the size of a defect, according to the Art Scroll elucidation. Um, that for a large animal, a one hand breadth tear in the rumen declares it a treifa, and for a small animal, it's for the majority. Um, so a different explanation. Amar Rabbi Binyamin Bar Yefet Amar Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Binyamin Bar Yefet says that Rabbi Elazar says. Uh, Lo gadula gadola mamash, velo katana mamash. So large doesn't literally mean large, small doesn't mean literally small. And Rashi says that this is about the size of the animal. Ele kol shenikra ba tefach v'lahava ruba zohi sheshanidhu bigdula tefach. Um, Concerning any animal that can be torn one hand breath and does not constitute most of the what they call the external rumen. Um, we learned for a large animal, tear of one hand breath renders it a treifa, and concerning animals small enough that most of the rumen can be torn, this does not constitute one hand breath. We learned that for a small animal, it is most of what was torn. So any external rumen torn, either one hand breath or in its majority, would make the animal a treifa. And that's Rashi's interpretation. And let's see, I think there's a halakha note. Um, the the external rumen is the flesh that envelops the majority, that covers the majority of the rumen. Uh, is that if it's torn, it will expose the rumen, which goes back to um, the little sugi we just finished with Rabbi Yossi Bar Hanina. Um, and the halakha, according to Rabbi Steinsaltz's note, is that we do follow Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Binyamin ben Yosef here. I'm sorry, Rabbi Binyamin Yefet, about either a handbreadth or the majority. So the natural question, Ruba v'la have tefach pashita. If most of the area is torn, but it's not a handbreadth long, it's obvious it's treifa. So why do you need to say this? La tzarika. It's no, it's needed. Dechavya tefach b'mashehu. There are cases where a tear would be any amount, handbreadth, uh, a tear would be a handbreadth of any amount, uh, and matefekla have terefa kamash malan. And this is to prevent you from saying that an animal is not a treifa until a handbreadth of it is torn. The halakha teaches us it's not so. It's not so. I mean, it looks pretty obvious to me, but the Gemara wanted to make that clear. So one last bit. Um, uh, Amar Geneva, Amar Rabbi Asi. So Geneva quotes Rav Asi. Uh, Nik dera kasela. If you have a boring into this area, this what they call the external rumen, that's as large as a sela, treifa. It's a treifa. There's a question here, and I wasn't able to really determine that. What is a sela? A sela is a coin that was minted during the Bar Kokhba period. There are other coins that are called selas, but this was the only one that's actually officially called a sela. So I'm not sure how this works because the rabbis actually barred the use of Bar Kokhba coins because the Bar Kokhba coins were a sign of revolt, and anyone caught using a Bar Kokhba coin in the Roman Empire would have been subject to immediate summary execution. And it became illegal under halakha, to use any Jewish coin, such as a Herodian coin or a Hasmonean coin, or especially a Bar Kokhba coin, to redeem Meiser Sheni. That a coin had to have a face on it, and there has never been in history anyone finding a Jewish coin that had someone's face on it. But that was common. That's common basically everywhere else. And you can look at coins for archaeologists. So I looked on the internet to some coin dealer sites and found that a sela is larger than the denarius, which was a standard Roman coin that's about the size of a dime, only twice as thick. The sela was weighed about three times as much as the denarius, maybe four times, depending on when you're talking, what period you're talking about, but probably about three to four times the weight in silver. Um, and it would have been um, roughly the size of today's 5 cent piece in the United States. So it's quite a bit larger than a denarius or dinar or zuz. So it's trefa. Um, and they give the reason right away. She'im timatak ta'amog al hatefach. If you stretch it, you can get it to the size of a handbreadth. Amar Rabbi Hia bar Abba. Rabbi Hia bar Abba said, "The didi mi parsha li mine digneva amara." Um, so this was explained um, to me by Geneva when they were on a ferry of Hardia, which I think is on the Euphrates River. Have to look that up. Kasela kashera. If the whole is a sela, it's kosher. Viater mik sela trefa, but it's larger. It's trefa. So the sela is the maximum size that is permitted. Um, Kama Yater Maxela, and how much is greater? Amar Rav Yosef Kagong de Alang Talat Kashyata. Uh, Rav Yosef said, if three date pits covered uh, in whatever is left over from eating the date can cover it. Betzifa to Dukatka with difficulty or without being covered in anything that didn't get eaten easily. Uh, yeah, so that's an attempt to explain it. I'm not sure that that helps because coins are pretty ubiquitous and date pits can vary, but that concludes that segment, that sugya, and we will continue with the next sugya at this point tomorrow night. Thank you all for listening.